guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a little video I wanted to do for quite some time. That is comparing the Revell and the AMT offerings on the 1940 Ford Coupe. Both kits depict a 1940 Ford business coupe that of course has no rear seat and has two jump seats on the back for the eventual passenger. Most notable difference between those two kits is that the AMT kit is a deluxe 1940 Ford business coupe, and the Revell kit is a base model, a standard 1940 Ford business coupe. Ford didn't use officially the designation standard in 1940. They just called this one the Ford V8 and this one the Ford Deluxe V8. Well, the tooling for this kit has its roots on the late 90s when Revell introduced a kit of the 1940 Ford Deluxe convertible, and most of the tooling was carried over to the business coupe. And I think it was very cool that Revell decided to do the base model as the business coupe, because in my opinion the base model looks nicer than the deluxe, at least the front end. And this is not a judgment on the kits. This is just a case of personal preference. I like the standard front end better than the deluxe, but I love them both. If you are comparing those two kits, a lot of people will tell me that I'm comparing apples to oranges, but I really don't think so. This kit here, the AMT kit, it is a 1959 tooling, and that's why people say I'm comparing here apples to oranges, because of the age of the tooling on the 40 Ford Deluxe from AMT. Well, here from where I'm standing, both cars look like a 1940 Ford, and the base dimensions are quite similar. If you put one car on the side of the other and take a look, you'll see they are quite similar. What of course should happen being the two cars in 1/25 scale. And that proves how good the AMT tooling was and is. The AMT kit is quite simpler to build. The fenders come in a unit separate from the body, and you'll just glue the body on the fenders, install the hood, and you're ready with the body. On the Revell kit, you have the front fenders that come already with the body, but you have to glue the rear fenders to the body, and you have to carefully align the rear fenders, so when you're going to glue the running boards, that yes comes separate. When you're going to glue the running boards align properly with the body. The end result, in my opinion, on both cars is quite good. The AMT kit has a more accurate representation of the running board with the more correct design on the rubber. Yeah, in 1959 they did a better job with the running boards than Revell did around 1999. And that is amazing, at least for me. Also, AMT includes the radio antenna, and Revell doesn't, even though the Revell coupe has a radio mounted on the dash. Well, if you want to remedy that, you have to scratch build your own antenna. As a counterpart, the AMT kit doesn't include a heater box inside. You can see there is nothing under the dash. And the dash is the correct deluxe dash that is in two-tone. The AMT kit has molded door handles, where the Revell kit has separate door handles. And both kits have a separate truck opening handle and separate license plate, as you can see here on the Revell. Both kits have the same features. What else? The AMT kit has molded on windshield wipers, while the Revell has separate windshield wipers. And the AMT kit includes no rear view mirrors, as the Revell kit includes, but this is easy explainable because in 1959 your car didn't include a rear view mirror from the factory. You had to install one yourself if you really wanted a rear view mirror. So Revell did it because now rear view mirrors are mandatory and everybody remembers about rear view mirrors. And back in 1959, AMT didn't include a rear view mirror because it was not even a trend on real cars. Very, very few cars had rear view mirrors from the factory in 1959 when this kit was tooled. Under the hood, you will see there are some very subtle differences. Both look like a 1940 Ford. The Revell kit has a lot more parts on the engine than the AMT kit, that is quite simplified and has very few parts. And after the kit is built, take a look. If you carefully paint and detail your AMT kit, you get a model that will display as nice as a Revell kit. And remember this, those cars have the same engine on the real world. The body is quite similar on both. And I would say the Revell body is a little better because it represents better this turn inward here on the side. The door goes down and goes inward. it represents better this detail than the AMT kit. The AMT kit is more flat on the side. And the AMT kit also does something that AMT used to do back in the day, that is using the standard AMT tires for everything. They used those same tires on the 1932 Ford, where they are completely wrong. But here in this 1940 Ford, they are just a little bit smaller than they should be. A 1940 Ford has 16-inch wheels, and those tires are 15-inch in scale. So the train rings get very close to the central hubcap, because the wheel is somewhat smaller than it had to be due to AMT using its standard tires and not the correct 16-inch tire. Here on the Revell kit you can see this clearly. Revell uses a up to scale 16-inch tire and a 16-inch wheel that makes the train ring goes where it should and away from the central hubcap. And I measured the hubcaps and they are up to scale on the Revell and on the AMT. So the train ring on the AMT looks so close to the central hubcap, just because it is really too close to the central hubcap. Underside, the Revell kit has a separate part chassis, a separate part exhaust. It includes an actual brake master cylinder, separate part running boards, and other than that, it also includes the underside of the toolbox here on the inside of the trunk, and you have great detail on the springs, on the radius rods. You have the Columbia rear end that is not stock, but it is a very a common accessory back in the day, and it includes detailed steering arms. What is the down part of this Revell chassis that is a little wonder on itself, with so many possibilities for detailing? At least for me, it's the front axle that is too wide. It is way too wide for the fenders, and built out of the box, the tires will rub the inner fenders. The inside of the fender is opening, and the only way to avoid the tire to rub is to cut the axle and shave about 3 millimeters of it. And that's not that easy, because you also have to cut the steering mechanism, the steering arms, and you also have to modify the radial rods assembly to accept a shorter axle. So not exactly a thing for the faint of the heart. And the AMT kit, includes a very simple chassis. The chassis is one part. The exhaust is molded onto the chassis. The rear suspension and axle is just one piece that you run your metal axle through. The front suspension has very simple steering arms, but hey, it doesn't rub the front fenders. It is simple, yes, I'll give you that, but it represents quite nice a 44, and with a little detailing, it gets quite good, in my opinion. You can always add more detail with about the same level of difficulty that you would have cutting the Revell front end to be correct. All in all, I would say both kits have their merits, their demerits, but for my taste, I like the AMT better, mostly because of the glass. Some modelers would hate this about the glass. The AMT glass is one piece that you glue from the underside that includes the windshield, the rear back here, the rear lights and the side windows, and it goes all in one piece. The only separate pieces you have to glue are the wind wings, and possibility to mess up the glass with glue is very reduced. While here on the Revell kit, every window is separate. The windshield is one piece. The wind wings here are one piece for each side. Here again, the rear windows are one piece here, and the rear windows are one piece for both. And man, that is a job that takes a lot of patience and care not to show glue here on the glass. And the front windshield is a very tight fit. You have to carefully sand very well here the inside of the pillars. You have to sand here the inside of the pillars to avoid chipping your paint while installing the windshield. So my advice here with this Revell kit is test fit. Test fit the glass, test fit the body on frame. Test fit the body on frame, and well, test fit everything like I always do, so you will avoid real problems in the future. And I guess choosing between the Revell and the AMT is just a question of which model you like better. You like better the standard, the base model, get the Revell. If you like the deluxe better, get the AMT. The AMT is a very old kit, yes, but it's built like a tank. It won't disintegrate if you accidentally drop it about 4 inches, and the Revell will. This is something you just have to have in mind. The more parts and the more complex a kit gets, the level of detail goes up and the difficulty to assemble goes up, and the overall strength of the model goes very fast down. And for some this can be a problem, and not for me, as my models are played with care, and I just don't beat them to death. I don't blow them up with with fireworks or anything like that. I know a lot of people used to do that back in the day. And I don't set them on fire or anything like that. So, but if you want a model that is stronger when built and is easier to build, get this one. If you want more detail, more parts, and can live with a more difficult assembly, get this. That's my advice. Guys, thanks for watching. Bye bye.